Hello and welcome to Insights. This is Hari Kumar. India recently secured a huge diplomatic win in GCC when Qatar released 8 Indian sailors sentenced to death by a court there. Those sailors who were formerly Indian Navy men or officials of Indian Navy arrived in New Delhi recently after Qatar government pardoned and released them. The credit for the release, of course, goes to Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who took up the issue personally. He met Qatar ruler Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani on the sidelines of a climate summit organized by UN in Dubai recently. And Mr. Modi's diplomatic initiatives in GCC didn't end there. Shortly after the sailors arrived in New Delhi, Mr. Modi embarked on a 2-day visit to UAE and he arrived in UAE yesterday. A major event, a grand event, Ahlan Modi, was held there to welcome him. Thousands of diaspora and leaders or rulers of Abu Dhabi participated in the event. Mr. Modi is expected to inaugurate the first Hindu temple in Abu Dhabi today, that is February 14th. Further, Mr. Modi is expected to visit Qatar and express his thanks to the ruler there and hold discussions with him. And if we need to realize the significance of the achievements of Prime Minister, we need to look back. To be precise, in 1992, a very unfortunate event happened in Sharjah in UAE. 11 Indians who staged a drama named Shavantini Urmugal, which can be translated as carrion eating ants or flesh eating ants, were accused of blasphemy and were imprisoned by a court there. They were given 6-year sentence according to media reports that appeared in India that time. However, they appealed against the verdict. But what happened is not officially known, or media didn't report that. However, unofficial reports say their sentences were made further rigorous and the imprisonment period was raised to more than 10 years. Relatives and friends of those found guilty approached government of India then and other political parties also. They were all known to be leftist, and the drama was held on the occasion of a death anniversary of Safdar Hashmi, an activist who was killed or allegedly killed by congressmen in Delhi years ago. But no political party intervened. At that time, P.V. Narasimha Rao was the Prime Minister of India and Salman Khurshid was the Foreign Minister of State in charge of GCC. Nobody intervened. Political parties distanced themselves from the relatives and friends. And even Malayalam media, though all of them were from Kerala, some Malayalam media wrote articles or published articles praising the decision of political parties to distance from these accused people. They said that those people or expatriate workers should obey the law of the land where they live. And in no way they deserve help. That was the attitude. That was the attitude of India those times. Those people or expatriate Indian workers in Gulf used to complain about the lack of interest shown by Indian embassies in GCC towards the issues faced by ordinary Indian workers. Indian ambassadors there used to roam around with the elite people. They were only bothered about the interests of the rich and the powerful. The poor workers were not taken care of. Even smaller countries like Philippines used to care their diaspora or expatriate workers very much. But the general complaint in India, every day newspapers publish reports about the antipathy of Indian ambassadors towards issues faced by Indian workers. But all those have changed at present. The present government intervenes in the issues faced by Indians, and wherever they are, the government tries to intervene and help them. The many evacuations carried out by India when Indian workers or diaspora they are faced, for example, be it in African countries or be it in Iraq or Afghanistan, many times India made it possible what looked impossible by evacuating huge numbers of Indians. And even Pakistani nationals used to approach India for help. So that is the attitude of present government. Earlier, only United States used to intervene or go to any extent to save their citizen. And what made this possible, or the change in the approach of Indian government? It is the change in the attitude of the or the concept of diplomacy that made this possible. Earlier, Indian foreign ministry and Indian diplomacy were governed by some desiccated ideals like non-alignment, and fundamentalist groups or vested interest groups used to control India's foreign ministry. The, while Western countries used to consider their national interests as prime, Indian government was focused on or more concerned about abstract ideas like non-alignment, socialism, things like that. And they didn't care to help Indian expats, unlike United States, where US Army would go to any place when a US citizen faced help. That was never the attitude of India. Those times, or influenced by fundamentalist groups, Indian foreign ministry used to consider Islamic world as a huge monolith. For them, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Indonesia, and GCC were one and the same. They failed to realize the fact that each country has got its own interests, strategic needs, and aspirations. So their sensibilities were not taken care of. Their individuality was not approved. Even in Gulf, every Gulf country has got their own strategic interests, their own individuality, and their own future aspirations. So they were not considered while drafting foreign policies. Actually, United States was a country that considered or took into account all those factors and implemented them in their foreign policies successfully. And for the first time, after Narendra Modi government came to power, the government of India has changed its perspectives. Now, the interests of India matter for India more. That is why the country has established strong relations with Israel. And at the same time, the friendly relations between India and the Gulf have also strengthened. Now, we need to realize that the friendly relations with Israel have not come in the way of friendly relations with GCC countries. This is a fact because India now deals with each and every country considering their needs, their sensibilities, and our needs. So, India has successfully proved that India can have friendly relations with Israel, GCC, and Iran also. So, this is a new welcome development on the foreign front. And another major factor is the rise of India as an economic power and also improvement or increase in the military powers of India. Now, India is the fourth or fifth largest economy in the world. So, every nation in the world wants to do business with India. And India has also realized and gained confidence from these realities. Actually, India is the third biggest importer of energy in the world. And Gulf is one of the major producers of energy in the world. It means that a cooperation between these two countries or Gulf and India is inevitable. Gulf needs a market to sell their products and India needs a market from where they can buy. And as a buyer, India also has got certain powers. For example, India can buy fossil fuel or petroleum products from anywhere in the world. And India has proved that by importing oil from Russia. So, another major factor is that India is actually one of the major investors in GCC. You look at the healthcare front, majority of hospitals in GCC are owned and operated by Indians. Then you come to the trading sector, the supermarket, hypermarkets. Everywhere Indians have invested huge money. Similarly, Indians get job in Gulf. But at the same time, GCC countries get quality professionals at comparatively affordable rates. So if they recruit their own people or Western expats, they will have to pay much more. So this is a symbiotic relation between GCC and India. Both needs each other. So this gives India a certain amount of confidence while dealing with GCC. The Gulf has also realized that. And moreover, the Gulf has also invested their capital in India. They want good returns for their capital. India is a fast growing, perhaps the fastest growing big economy in the world. So it is wiser to invest in India. And the Gulf has realized that. Earlier, those vested interest groups used to spread rumors that when Narendra Modi came to power, the Gulf will distance themselves from India. But actually, the opposite happened. The trade between India and GCC has increased several folds. For example, the trade between India and UAE's annual trade is worth 85 billion US dollars, and UAE is the third biggest big trade partner of India. So similar developments are happening. India and UAE have signed a free trade agreement. India also has major trade relations with Saudi Arabia, Oman, Bahrain, and Qatar also. So this is a symbiotic, mutually helpful relationship. Culturally, India and Gulf are very similar. For example, Hindi is known by a huge population in GCC. A large sections of population in UAE, Oman, Bahrain, etc., they know Hindi. That proves that there was very active and thriving trade relation between India and the Gulf even earlier. So unlike the fears and rumors spread by certain people, Gulf cannot sever ties with India, and India also cannot sever ties with India, Gulf. Actually, if we look back into history, it was the Turks who invaded and robbed India. It was mostly the Turks, Uzbeks, and people from West Asia who attacked India. It was not the GCC Arabs. So, India and GCC have much in common. However, vested interest groups try, the relations between India and GCC is time tested and the bonds are very strong. The Gulf countries actually need India for technology also. Of course, the Europe, America and China have got technology. For example, space technology, UAE is now cooperating with India. This is because Indian technology is cheap, unlike the technologies from even Japan or other countries. So, this relation, India GCC relation, is there to stay. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi has realized it, and he is taking very decisive moves to further the relation. And there is no doubt that India GCC bonds will grow stronger in the coming days. That is for now. Meet you with another issue next time. Till then, goodbye.